another episode of the Unhinged FC podcast. And as you can see, it is just Hector from Insert Name FC and Kelcey today. We will be talking all things Champions League for Tuesday, March 16th. Today, obviously we have a couple games on the docket. Actually, a couple competitive games, if you will. Real Madrid, Hector, your Real Madrid versus Atalanta, a 1-0 aggregate scoreline as they head back to Madrid in this one. It's a very interesting game. Atalanta performed admirably, I would say, at home against Real Madrid. And in the other fixture today, Man City and Borussia Monchengladbach, 2-0 lead to Man City as they play a quote-unquote home game. Again, at Puskas Arena, these English-German matchups seem to be spending a lot of time in Hungary and enjoying Puskas Arenas if you're an English league
Man, at this
team.
point, we might as well just make Puskas Arena the Champions League final.
Exactly. Yeah. No. It's very interesting. Everything happening with COVID and how the German government is handling it, especially with English teams involved, making everything run through Hungary, if you will. But it's going to be an exciting matchup today. Very very intriguing games. Lots of weird storylines about these ones. I mean, we'll start with Man City and Borussia Monchengladbach. Obviously, like I said, this one's going 2-0 Man City's way. And they're heading quote unquote to home. So they have 2 away goals to Borussia Mönchengladbach's nothing. I mean, this is for all intents and purposes looking kind of like a wash for Man City, and they're just going to walk away with one. And ironically, since losing 3 consecutive home games in Champions League play back in 2018, in September 2018, Man City has won 10 of their last 11 Champions League outings at home. So obviously this isn't at Etihad, but it is a home game. I mean, they've averaged 3.5 goals per game during that run. So you talk about it, they don't just score a little bit and win a little bit. They put the hammer home and absolutely know the teams are playing. So we'll start with what they did in leg 1. I mean, obviously, Man City gets to a 2-goal lead. Hector, what did you see from Man City in the first leg? Like, what did they do so well?
I mean, they played their game. I think that's if there's one thing to know about Manchester City, man, that's a team that you can't let them be comfortable. Yeah, when they play their style of game, and obviously that's what Pep likes to Pep style of play, which it consists of a lot of ball movement. And I mean, with the playmakers that this team has, the not necessarily playmakers, but just the intelligent players that this team has in having Kevin De Bruyne, uh, Gundogan, um, a very exciting young player in Phil Foden, that can move the ball around and have such a amazing attack pieces that you have. Obviously, Sergio Aguero, depending if we're going to see him up there, maybe we see Gabi Jesus. Raheem Sterling is always a dangerous person up top as well. I mean, and then obviously Ferran Torres as well, who is leading Man City in Champions League goals. Not, I mean, obviously, not entirely like overall for Man City, but just specifically for Champions League, he's definitely done pretty well for himself.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did what they needed to do, which was get a 2-goal lead. They got 2 away goals on them, so you know they're sitting in a really good situation for themselves. And if all they have to really do is just once again just play their game, because if you allow Man City to play their game, if you allow them to move the ball the way they want to, you're not going to have a good day. You have to be disruptive in order to get Man City off their groove.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and unfortunately, Mönchengladbach is kind of going through it right now. I mean, they've never won in England to begin with, in a Champions League or Super or European League, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call the Champions League competition. You have never won in England, and then on top of that, they did just lose this weekend, 3-1 against a team they honestly probably should have defeated. And, here they are coming in, reeling. You're already down 2-0. You're heading to England where you already know you haven't won. They're playing Man City at home, who's also the home of their last and worst ever Champions League defeat. And that's by 4-0 in their last matchup in 2017. I mean, everything is coming up negative for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And yeah, I mean, they did nothing, did absolutely nothing to give John Stones trouble, to give anything Ruben Diaz doing anything that troubled him. It was very simple, very straightforward. Like, okay, we get it to our striker. What do we do now? I don't know what's going on. There was no complex movement. There was no, you know, we use tiki taka a lot for to reference quick movement of play, and really there's nothing. I mean, it literally got to the striker, and if he could actually hold the ball, it stopped there. I mean, it was a quick turnover, and Man City's back on the front edge, and you can't do that against this team. I mean, like you said, it's is sad to watch for sure. This one turned very ugly very fast. I feel like just in the entire tie. Once that, especially that first goal happened, and you're just kind of waiting for City to just step on their throats with the second goal, and they managed to pull it away. And I mean, just looking at the stats from the last game. I mean, what 58% of possession for Man City compared to 44% for Mönchengladbach. Passing percentages almost 90% passing in an entire game for Man City. That, that's absolutely insane. Whereas Mönchengladbach to the point of what I was making, where they got to the striker and that was it, 80% passing. So you got to your striker and then you lost the entire third of the field, and then you just couldn't do anything. And I mentioned John Stones and Ruben Diaz and how strong they've been. They're not just doing it in a Champions League play; they're doing it in absolutely every competition right now. So it's tough to go get to go for Mönchengladbach to come in and try to figure out something. I don't know what they can figure out to do, but whatever their hit it long and hope plan was not the way to go in leg one, really. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but looking forward to leg two. Obviously, we have I mentioned this: 2 goals, 2 away goals to no goals on aggregate. I mean, so this is pretty much a most can say a done deal, especially history's on their side. But history is meant to be broken. Do you think, when it comes down to it, Mönchengladbach can put something together in this Leg 2 matchup and actually beat the pairing of Diaz and Stones and get 2 away goals?
Um, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but it can be done. I mean, I think you can look at that Manchester City Manchester United game, and you kind of saw, I guess, in a way, a sort of strategy to to go up against Man City. And I think if you can catch them slipping on a counterattack, especially with who you have up front in play, I think and they can really put themselves into it. I mean, Ederson's a solid goalkeeper. I'm not saying that he's not, but if that defense slips up and it's you versus Ederson, I like the chances of player
Yeah.
for that one. And so if I will say with Mönchengladbach, I think that their strategy has to go in that they got to play like they got nothing left to lose. And honestly, that's really what it is. Which make honestly could make them a very dangerous team because they can go out there and take those risks, knowing that there's no consequences if they get beat. Because if they get beat, I mean they're already down as it
Yeah.
is. So at this point, it's time to take some shots. Um, Kind of something I say in certain MFC is when you go up against these teams like Man City and Bayern Munich, you got to go in with some haymakers, and when you got them down, you got to keep them down. Um, and luckily for them, for Monchengladbach, um, these are going to count for away goals for them. So if they can get a 2-0 win on this one, guess what? They're going to extra time, um, and now it's an even play field. And just make sure you just keep, like I said, keep them down while you can.
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. You can't just come in here trying to light foot yourself through the first half and hope you can snag a quick goal without really being on the front foot. And you mentioned this Man United game that Man City just played. First time, the very first time all season that the pairing of John Stones and Ruben Diaz has lost. I mean, you talk about needing a playbook to how to beat them. That's number one. Like, just pull up the tape, see how Man United do it. Obviously, I think comparing the Man United squad to what Mönchengladbach has is apples and oranges to some degree. I mean, the young talent there at United is a little bit overwhelming compared to what Mönchengladbach can bring in the attack. However, to your point, yeah, if they can manage to get a mistake from one of the two and get one on one with Ederson, there's no reason that play can absolutely not destroy it and put away an easy goal. I mean, it's absolute simple. For Man United or for Man City going into this one, I mean, I feel like it's just business as usual at this point in time. Pep Guardiola doing what Pep Guardiola wants and making his teams do whatever they want. You named off a ton of guys that you can just start in any squad across the world. When talking about Raheem Sterling, you know, take your pick: Ruben Diaz, John Stone. Whether it's Kun Aguero or it's going to be Torres up front, Ferran Torres, or Gabriel Jesus, or insert person here, Phil Foden. I mean, it's been at this point in time, it could be absolutely anybody, and this team is gonna torture you. I mean, Ilkay Gundogan just by himself is dangerous presence. So who knows. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be another just keep tradition going for Man City. Make sure you just keep play your P's and Q's. Just pass it around. You're gonna get a couple chances. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if this one ends up the exact same way as the previous matchup. Um, but getting to that point, obviously we are at that time. What is your prediction for this one? What is your prediction that this ends up and who advances?
Um, I just don't think that they're gonna be able to move the ball enough, and I think you're gonna have it's gonna be very small opportunities that are gonna come afloat. Because obviously Man City, especially the way they've been playing in the league right now in the English Premier League, currently sitting at first place. Um, they've been solid all around. They've been great defensively. I don't think people talk enough about how well this team plays, not only in the back line but just how as a team defend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that people don't talk about as much. And I mean, it's easy for them when you have such fast players up front, where you could just send it out there, and Raheem Sterling, probably one of the fastest guys in the English Premier League,
Even with his
can
little
just
T
go
Rex running arms.
out there and get it, man. And so I just feel like the mistakes, could they happen? Of course, but the issue would be, can Monchengladbach really capitalize on those mistakes and make sure they move quickly when they get these mistakes. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I just don't see it, especially with the way Ruben Diaz and Stones have looked so far since these two started pairing. And so no, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a 2-0 win. I think they get that 2-goal lead. They know they don't really need much else. And so they could just go ahead and ease up a little bit. Maybe pull some guys out. Get go back to focusing on the English Premier League, because I think that you know they just got to do their job. And someone as so well structured as Pep Guardiola, he's not going to let these guys take Mönchengladbach for granted.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, you mentioned Diaz. It's something feels different this year with this defense for Man City, and John Stones has never been the most consistent defender, but since Diaz has been back there with him, it's been. I mean, I don't know if it's just that perfect matchup for them that they have in the back in that center back pairing, but it's scary. I mean, you honestly feel like if they get a goal, they're guaranteed a win. Is kind of how it feels. They're just that deadly in defense. That's why it was shocking seeing Man United actually pull it out against them. And uh, first,
Me and Edward both were in man, and Edward's a Man U fan.
yeah, it was just I was shocked. I saw that stat line. I was like, wow. But again, I said it earlier. I think Man United is apples and oranges compared to Borussia Monchengladbach, and I'm with you on this one. I honestly see this ending in another 2-2 or 2-0 win for Man City. I mean, you talk about how they're doing this. They're doing this without a guy who's an all-world player in Kevin De Bruyne. He's not even going to have to worry about coming in and giving you 10 minutes as he's coming back from injury. I mean, he's still yeah, I don't know. They might run him out just to give him a good 10 minutes to stretch his legs at this point in time, really. And that's scary to think about. Like Kevin De Bruyne coming off the bench in a 2-0 game, and you're he's just stretching his legs, quote unquote. But yeah, I think I'm right there with you. This one ends 2-0 and a 4-0 aggregate, and they head on home. Get ready for the quarterfinal draw and see who they pull. It's going to be yeah, unfortunately, Mönchengladbach, and we've been wrong before. I just keep thinking of Porto last week and then what they were able to do, and that fantastic game. Uh, it's a possibility, but I don't know. This one seems all but done and dusted, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But that does it for this game. We're gonna go quick break, and we will be right back to talk Real Madrid versus Atalanta, and we'll be right back, guys. What's up, everybody? It's Kelcey from the High Low Sports Podcast. If you missed the brand new news,
we have partnered with Fanatics.com. So if you're in the market for a brand new t-shirt, brand new hoodie, brand new jersey, no matter the team, no matter the player, no matter the sport, Fanatics.com is your place to stop. Not only does this help support our podcast, but it helps support the entire Unhinged Sports Network. Check the link in our bio or go to unhingedsn.com. On behalf of DJ and the High Low Sports Podcast, see ya. What's up, everybody? It's Kelcey from the High Low Sports Podcast, and we recently partnered with Fubo TV. What is Fubo TV? Fubo TV is a service to broadcast live TV over the internet, no cable required. Watch your favorite teams, network shows, news, and movies on over 100 plus channels. You get channels like CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox. You can watch all the games. So go ahead, click that link in our bio, and get started on your 7-day free trial. And stay tuned to some more great programming right here on the Unhinged Sports Network.
And welcome back, guys. As you just heard, Fanatics and Fubo TV are our network sponsors for Unhinged Sports Network, and they're fantastic partners to have with the network. Definitely love their stuff. If you guys haven't gone already, check out Fanatics. Definitely go do it. We're all fans. We need to get the jerseys. We need to get all the gear to show that we are fans, and that way we have a little bit of pride when we talk about these games. And speaking of pride, Real Madrid, probably one of the most prideful teams, especially when it comes to Champions League play, one of the most successful teams in Champions League's history.
13.
Yeah, you can call it what you will. 13 straight victories, however you want to say it. But not of recently. They are winless in their last 4 home games in the knockout stages of Champions League play, drawing 1, losing 3. And that's not going to be a very promising effort when they're coming back home with a 1-0 aggregate lead. Obviously, it is an away goal, so technically 1.5 goal lead against Atalanta, who is dangerous, especially in a counterattack situation. What did you see from game 1 from Real Madrid that makes you hopeful in this game, if you will? I know you are definitely favoring Real Madrid. They are your squad. They are your do or die. But what did you see? I mean, what did you see from Real Madrid that's promising?
Honestly, for me, I saw so many problems. It was just, I mean, if there's one thing about Real Madrid, they're always going to be in the game, to the very last minute. I mean, we saw Ferland Mendy with Ferland Mendy. You saw Mendy with just actually no, yeah, it is Ferland Mendy.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's the right Mendy. Yeah, there's so many Mendys at this point in time. Yeah.
But yeah, it's no, it just happened to be French as well. But no, Ferland Mendy comes up clutch and comes in with a beautiful outside the box shot. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, this wasn't 100% Real Madrid. Obviously, there was no Sergio Ramos, there was no Karim Benzema. You had Isco playing at a false 9 in the first meeting, and so you had to like kind of work with what you had yet. Lucas Vasquez playing at right back. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the thing that obviously I think Real Madrid just did what they needed to do, which was do not lose that first game, do not come out with a deficit. They kept them clean. So you gotta give props to the guys that came in and stepped up for Real Madrid. Even the young guys that had to come in as substitutes, kind of just held their own and made sure that it wasn't that big of an error where they were coming back to Real Madrid, playing in Di Stefano, shorthanded and now you're seeing Karim Benzema's back, Sergio Ramos is back, so I mean the only thing that's gonna be rough is just the fact that you're not gonna have Casemiro in your midfield because obviously he's suspended for yellow card allocations, accumulations, and so. But I mean, even then, you look at this back line. Obviously, and what's interesting is as of recently we've been seeing Real Madrid using a back 3. So I mean, we could be seeing Nacho, Sergio Ramos, and Varane in the back 3, kind of using Lucas Vasquez as another winger. Mendy as well probably be being used as a winger as well, and then you have Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, who both got plenty of rest because they did not start in their recent game against Elche, which was a 2-1 win. You still have Isco, who's an amazing playmaker, and kind of getting to benefit from all these injuries because now he's getting some more play time. You have Vinicius Jr., who completely still putting some pressure on him. We need to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
You know, Hazard, weirdly enough, is healthy. I'm still kind of skeptic on Hazard right now, still, but could be some kind of light coming in like in the second half, coming off the bench. And then I think the main thing to mention is Karim Benzema, who's coming off of 2 straight games where he has scored goals in the final minutes. Obviously getting the draw against Atletico Madrid, and then scoring 2 goals to get Real Madrid the win against Elche. So Karim Benzema is hot right now, coming off of injury and already being hot as he is. So I mean, I think at least up top, you have somebody as reliable as Benzema. So I think Real Madrid, in going into this game, yeah, the history is not looking good for them as far as home performances, but I think that this Real Madrid team, now kind of getting a little bit healthier and kind of getting guys hot at the right time, is definitely going to be a big benefit to them.
Yeah, definitely. And now, one thing I will say, I was obviously kind of unfair to Real Madrid, just to kind of, yeah, I want to turn the key a little bit and make you feel a little uncomfortable. To be fair to them, against Italian competition, in the last 12 games they've faced Italian competition, they have won 11 of their last 12, only losing one of them, and that was back in 2008 against Juve, and that was a completely different Juve team than anything we've all ever seen recently. So it's not like they went down to some, you know, oh no, who there, who's there that's going to replace it. No, they that was a rough defeat. Let's be honest. But that's been the only time. I mean, they've won again 11 out of the last 12 against Italian opponents. So while their home record's not great, they're against Italian opponents. It's kind of like, well, it evens out. And you mentioned Casemiro. Whether with him not being out because of yellow cards, it's looking like Valverde will be the guy who steps into that place, and will be helping out a lot. And you mentioned Cruz and Modric coming back in, and that's going to help out as well. And one thing I noticed is they're talking about Marcos Asensio coming in for this next leg. I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, you mentioned Vinicius Jr. and how you need to see a lot more for him. And I think Zidane's feeling the same way. That's why he's giving Asensio the nod here and being like, you know what? Go get us something. Because at the end of the day, you still have Karim Benzema, who, if you look back to the signings of Kaká, Angel Di Maria, Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Mesut Ozil, who would have thought Karim Benzema is the guy that's carrying the torch still?
Honestly, I'm not really as shocked. I mean, to be honest, because I think with Ronaldo, I think he in a perfect world he would have wanted to finish the rest of his career in Real Madrid. But obviously he went out and seek the next challenge for himself.
Yeah.
And it's not like this guy is a journeyman, because I mean he plays almost like 300 matches for every team he's played. Well, aside from Sporting, but with Manchester United and Real Madrid, he had very long stints with those clubs. But Benzema, I mean, he was just I actually, out of when they brought in Kaká and Ronaldo, Benzema was actually the player I was most excited to see, because I saw what he could do in Lyon. I saw how good he was at the attack. I knew he was gonna have to take a step back just because of the fact that in front of him was Raul, and you're not gonna take over a legend spot just yet. But he came in and he's owned that spot for a while. He's getting up there in age as well, but he is continuing to be consistent. He goes out there and performs, and I mean, to the point where when Sergio Ramos isn't on the field, Benzema is the one wearing that captain's armband. I think he deserves it more than anything else. But I mean, Benzema is definitely going to be the spark for the team. Obviously, if there's a corner, you gotta be mindful of Sergio Ramos, because that guy can definitely head one in. So
I feel like he's carried by his anger for everything in the world with the way he plays. So he's always a threat to score.
So I mean, I think Real Madrid is definitely getting some players back from health. I think is a benefit for them.
Yeah, no doubt. And now we talk about this first leg. Atalanta actually went down to 10 men in the 17th minute, and they still performed, I'd say, very admirably. I mean, it was maybe a touchy red card. Definitely worth a yellow. The red, it's very close. I mean, I can see both sides of it, honestly. I'm not going to say the ref blew this one, because we've seen much worse calls coming from a Champions League game, and especially in this type of situation. but they performed very well. And now coming in away, you're going to be pressing matters. If you're Atalanta, you're going to be pushing. You're going to be trying to take advantage of Varane and Ramos, and maybe that back three if they decide to pull out the back three with Nacho as well. That could be a very interesting take because Atalanta isn't the most terrifying team, but they can be scary on their day. When it's their day, they can put up goals if they need to, and that's going to be very interesting to see if they can come out and perform that way. But what do you see happening in this leg too? I mean, obviously, there's a lot riding here.
Atalanta is. I mean, obviously, I think you saw what this team can do in that first leg. I mean, I'm with you. I didn't think it was a red card, a yellow card for sure, but not a red card.
No.
I mean, whenever it was, the thing was you had to make that foul. It had to be done. If not, Mendy was gonna score a goal.
Oh yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, he's walking. He's walking in.
next thing you know, instead of this being a 1-0 deficit, it'll be a 2-0 deficit. So, I think the one thing to take away is from one, they were able to manage just a 1-0 loss, with being down to 10 men. One of those things about these Italian teams, man, they are very good defensively, unless you're Roma. But most of them are very good defensively. But the thing with Atalanta is that they're very structured. And it's not the boring structure like we say with Sevilla. This is a team that you have two sparks up front with Duvan Zapata and Luis Muriel that can honestly, on any given day, can go off because that's just how amazing these two are. But I mean, the way these guys defend, they move, they defend well and they attack well. And they can, I mean, they showed you that they can take a bunch of brute force from a team that can maintain possessions and just wait for the counterattack, which is why it's so great to have Zapata and Muriel because of their counterattack masters, if you want to look at it like that. So I mean, for them, we know that one away goal does not help. I mean, obviously you can ask Juventus.
Yeah.
All they really need to do is, I mean, they know how to defend against Real Madrid, but now they need to go ahead and take some risks. Not necessarily saying that they're in a situation where they have nothing to lose, but that was the only thing that was missing for them is that they weren't really taking those opportunities and really take full advantage. Because I mean, Real Madrid did give them some prime opportunities in that first leg, and they just weren't able to finish it out. And so for them, it's just you got to take a risk. You're gonna have to go out there and let Zapata and Muriel do something for you. Because if not, and Real Madrid scores a goal, the pressure's now on you. Now you need 2 goals to win to advance. I mean, luckily for you at this point, if you're able to get more than 2 goals at this point, you have the away goal difference maker, so you put the pressure on Real Madrid. But if Real Madrid goes in there and starts scoring goals, it's gonna be rough for, especially if Real Madrid can get hot at the right time. This is gonna be a very dangerous team in this tournament. And so if Atalanta can keep them cooled down, let them be slow, like similar to what that first leg was, where it just took forever for us to see a goal.
Yeah.
It could be the other way around. Atalanta scores a goal. Next thing you know, they're in extra time. Real Madrid's deflated, and Atalanta poaches on it. So I mean, honestly, they need to go into the put all their emphasis in the long haul, and I think Atalanta could do that and get the win. But if you ask me, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Benzema's just hot right now. He's too hot. He got hot at the perfect time, which is crazy to say because he just got off of injury like 2 games ago. But he is hot right now. I think it's gonna make especially when you able to rest 2 of your big playmakers in Modric and Toni Kroos, and also you don't want to leave anything open for them because they can definitely take a shot outside the box with no problem, and they will not hesitate as well. So you have a hot Karim Benzema and 2 well-rested midfielders that can launch them. So I mean, I think Real Madrid is coming in at a perfect time right now to make a big statement.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on both parts on this. I mean, if you're Atalanta, you got to go for it, and maybe don't be surprised if they dirty it up in midfield and then sneak a couple counterattack goals in. Obviously, not dirty it up like get another red card, but dirty it up like I've talked about in the past of just if anything starts rolling, it's just a very professional foul, which is kind of what happened with that yellow card. It was going to be a professional foul, but it's just that last man, that last ditch effort is the reason that red card gets pulled. And I see it. I don't love it. I don't love the call, but I get it. It's just one of those things. But I'm with you on this one. And personally, for me, I actually I have Atlanta giving Real Madrid a scare in this one. I do have them scoring an away goal. However, I do have Real Madrid winning the overall game and winning the game and winning the overall tie. I do have this one finishing 2-1, and that way Real Madrid does advance 3-1 on the aggregate. But I do think they're going to have a little bit of a scare from Atalanta in this one, and it's not just going to be a walk in the park like many Los Blancos fans might hope for. I feel like this is going to be one that's going to be a little unnervy. You'll be on the edge of his seat, unfortunately.
Okay, I can see that. I think that this is it's gonna be a 2-1 win. I agree with you. I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about Atalanta necessarily scoring first. I think Real Madrid gets that comfortable goal in, but then Atalanta puts the pressure on, scores a goal, maybe scores a goal before halftime, and now thinking that maybe Atalanta has the momentum, but then Real Madrid just I'm gonna probably may say maybe off of a set piece, maybe Ramos does something, but you can never count out. I think Real Madrid, gets us a little bit nervous. I'll probably be nerve-wracked throughout it, but Real Madrid gets it done 2-1.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I can see both sides happening. It's terrifying. Also, you mentioned the set piece. Something about Ramos on set pieces is absolutely terrifying, and especially if you need a goal. If you're Real Madrid and you need a goal, and you have a set piece, you're gonna find that man Sergio Ramos sneaking around the ball somewhere, and 9 times out of 10, he's the guy that ends up putting it home, or he gets an assist just because somebody got in the way and the ball flaked off of his foot right to another Real Madrid player. I mean, that's just how it works for Sergio Ramos. He's in the right place at the right time when you need him to be in the box somehow, and that's just his whole career. I feel like he just pops up in the most awkward situations and he makes the best of it. So that does it for us today, guys. Obviously, there was a lot. Gonna be some exciting games. I don't know if we'll have an exciting game as we had with Porto and Juve last week, but I do think this has, especially this Real Madrid and Atalanta game, I do think has the opportunity to be something similar because both teams are not afraid to go for it if they need to. And Atalanta is no slouch offensively. They can definitely score with the best of them. But that'll be a very interesting matchup to watch, guys. And for Hector over at Insert Name FC, go follow him, guys. If you guys haven't already, over at Twitter at Insert Name FC, also Instagram at Insert Name FC. And then, over here, High Low Sports over on Twitter at high_low_sports. That's how you follow me. And Hector, can't wait for tomorrow, man. We'll be right back at it. So until tomorrow, guys, we will see you later.